Howdy folks, TJ here. Atari Mega ST, or Atari Mega 2 I should say, even though it's an ST on steroids a little bit. We're going to do a close-up today. In my last video I just kind of introduced that I would be exploring the Atari ST and Falcon and all that more in 2023. And so I just kind of did a little history of how I've been involved and using as a customer Atari computers since the olden days. So I thought, let's do a close-up now of the Mega 2. Maybe some of you have not seen all the ports and all that. And then I will do a boot up. I've got this Atari 520 ST demo floppy. In fact, think Federated. If you followed Atari, at one point they, I believe, owned a department store, I'll call it, called Federated. And they sold other things, but they also, it was a way for them to sell Atari computers. And so I could picture a kiosk or a table with an Atari ST-based system with this demo floppy playing all the time. So I thought it'd be fun to do a boot up actually of the Mega 2. And then future videos, I've got lots of fun ideas already in my mind. But let's start with the box. I briefly showed you the box the other day in my last video. And it's your typical white Atari logo, blue and white box. And it looks good. But why I want to show the box a little bit more is because the polys inside are not really polys. And I'm curious, anybody out there own a Mega? And are yours nice styrofoam-based polys, or is it what I'm about to show you? Which is more of a, if you've ever worked at a repair company, I used to work in the 80s, a company that repaired floppy drives, hard drives, dummy terminals made by Cume and DEC and Wise and all that, hard drives, you name it, monitors, and laser printers too. And there was a packaging system where you had a box, and you filled it with a foam base, and then you put your thing in there, and then put this expanding foam blower that blew all this foam that would expand to protect your device. And that's kind of what these are. So let me pop open the box quickly. I just wanted to show this. Again, this is your basic box, and you know, I kind of showed it in my last video. But inside here, let me maneuver over here. I'll probably be out of the camera for a moment. And I don't want to pull these out all the way, but these are not your typical pretty styrofoam polys. It is these foam, well, for the keyboard they had them, but for this part, I don't know if this is aftermarket, the purchase I purchased it from did it, or Atari actually used these. And you'll see that inside, it's just, you know, this big blue, and it is formed, but I don't know. What do yours look like? Maybe these polys were getting a little beat up and the previous owner put this blue wrap around it. I don't think so. I'm thinking maybe Atari had them this way. But anyway, what do your polys look like for your Mega? So let's get this box out of the way. I just wanted to show that briefly. Atari Mega 2. This is the system that TJ, my second computer, purchased. I said 1990 the other day, but you know what? I think I purchased it a little earlier because my wife and I were dating actually from 85, 86-ish until we got married in 1990. So I think I may have purchased this not long after it came out. These were made, I think, in 87-ish. So I may have purchased this sometime between 1987, 88, 89, something like that. Anyway, manual. It came good old printed manuals. Nowadays, everything comes, they don't give you paper for anything. You go to a restaurant and they give you a damn barcode to scan to see your menu. What happens if I don't have a smartphone? Or I keep my phone at home because I'm going out on a date with the wife? I don't need no freaking phone. I'm on a tangent here, but that's the way my videos go. But it came with a nice printed manual. And hours of reading, fun stuff, shows you the ports, all the nitty-gritty that you would typically see in a manual. What page is this? What's this talking about? This is copying a disc. So it came with a nice manual. Let's cover this next. And I'll kind of show some close-ups. and I'll try to be careful. So the front of the Mega has a floppy drive, and it has here Atari logo Mega ST2. Even though the box says Mega 2, this says Mega ST2. And so the front of it, pizza box style. This side has a cartridge port and a telephone-like connector where your keyboard plugs into. So what's that cartridge port do? Well, I can plug my Spectre GCR into it, or other cartridges that were available for the Atari ST line. So that's that side. This side has nothing. The back side has all sorts of portage. Let's see if we can cover it here. Reset button, modem, on-off button, power cord, printer. And they all have nice little, I don't know if they'll show up, but little icons next to the names, so that's cool. These have, of course, MIDI ports, out and in. It's got little music symbols, if you can see that, kind of cool. Monitor port, floppy, and hard disk. No TV. This is a professional computer. There's no TV connector on here, no RF. Bottom, Atari, shows the serial number, the logo, and it's got your little feet, your normal stuff on the bottom. So that's what it looks like. So I wanted a business, oh, I forgot to show this. So this computer has a little place for batteries, a battery clock. Now, stupid TJ has had his Mega 2 in his back room for a while now. I used it a while back and did some Spectre GCR on it. I left the batteries in there, 2 AA's. They were corroded, dripping all over, dumbass TJ. I cleaned it yesterday, so I was a little disappointed in myself that I didn't take out the batteries. Normally I'm good about those type of things, but anyway, so that's the Mega 2 that I just spit all over and I keep spitting. Okay, monitor. A little too heavy for me to pick up and maybe I'll carry it over there. Like I mentioned, there's 2 or 3, and I believe 3 different monitors that are color SC1224. This one I like because if you look at the front design, this matches really nicely the power button on the front to the little logo that's over there. It just all lines up nicely and looks good. On the back, let me just spin this around a little bit. This is the monitor, but there are some adjustments down here. These cords are hardwired into the back. One is obviously you're connecting it to the monitor port, and one's a power port. This one is logoed Atari. Now I'm trying to remember, I think the 3 brands that made monitors for Atari were Samsung, JVC, and somebody else. Samsung, LG. I'm going off of memory here, but they had a couple of different styles. I don't remember if the JVC, which one exactly is. I'll do another video where I'll put all 3. I think I own all 3 monitors. But this one, to me, looked the part business, boxy-wise, for this Mega. Now, the older, I shouldn't say older, but the different model, SC1224, that's more bulbish, roundish, looks good with the 520 and 1040. And then I'm going to have to put all 3 side by side and we can look at the differences later. But anyway, this is the Atari monitor that I believe I had in the day. This is not my original Mega 2. Like I said in my last video, TJ gave it away. I was getting married. Who needs computers? Dumbass. Okay, keyboard. What's next? The keyboard for the Mega is a nice extension of the whole computer there. It's an external keyboard. Mine's in pretty good shape. Not too much yellowing that I really see. I always put a towel over it. I always loved the Atari diagonal cut keys, the function keys. But this was a full keyboard. And it's got feet on the bottom so you can prop it up. It still was unique in that, dang, you got to really plug your mouse into this really tight little spot here. They kind of love doing that with joysticks and stuff. You got to really finagle, and then run this cable in through here. But I did get it plugged in successfully. And here's where you can plug a joystick into. If you can see that again, it's in a nook and cranny, like an English muffin. You got to try to get the butter in there, and it's a pain in the butt. But anyway, these keyboards are hard to come by. And in fact, it's been a while since I've used this one, so typing on it was a little bit, not all the keys would strike at first, so I'm going to have to maybe blow it out a little bit. Hopefully all the keys work after I do some more testing and using of this finally. And then, of course, your normal, do you call it a tank mouse, or is that the Amiga considers theirs a tank mouse? This looks like a tank to me. It looks like something from Battlezone, actually. Imagine this in Battlezone. That's what it looks like, right? It's a Battlezone tank. I'm trying to remember. Was it T-Laser? He's on the Atari Age forum. I purchased this from him, and he was up in Washington. If I'm getting your name wrong and you're not T-Laser, I purchased it from. If you watch this video, post down below. But I did purchase it from a gentleman in Washington. I was going up on vacation. I'm in California, and said, hey, I'll be driving up there. I'll buy this from you. And bought it from him, drove to his house, picked it up, and I still have it. Amazingly, I haven't been stupid enough to sell it. I've kept this one because it had some. I sold my Falcon before this one because at the time, this was one that I actually owned in the day, so I had a special value of me wanting to keep it. But then I kicked myself in the ass for selling my Falcon. I do own one again, and no, I'm never going to sell it. I'm collecting now to use and enjoy. I'm not a collector, but I do collect to actually enjoy and buy and use, and I'll be using these a lot more in the coming years. So, did I cover everything? Yeah, I think so. So, you basic Mega ST. What's different about this compared to the 520 and 1040? Well, this had the battery backup, that little thing. The Blitter. It had the Blitter Coprocessor for better, I guess it kind of souped up your graphics a little bit. And it was a screaming 8 megahertz like the ST. So pretty much anything you get for the ST, you'd be able to run on this, at least from my experience during the day. And it had a nice internal floppy. So yeah, it was a little bit souped up, more businessy looking, external, nicer in my opinion, you know, external keyboard you could kind of maneuver and pull in front of you or put on your lap if you want to. So yeah, that was the reason I went with a Mega 2, a little bit more professional looking, business looking. So let's go ahead and put this back in my back office. We'll turn it on and play the demo a little bit, show it off a little bit, and then I have future videos. What am I going to do really first with this other than that demo? I've chosen 2 games, and I think I've chosen the one I'm going to run. What excites me about the Atari? Dungeon Master. In my opinion, the best game in the time period for this. But I'm not going to play that one first because I have a connection to alternate reality. Because on the Atari 8-bit, I had alternate reality. The first game that I purchased that I really got sucked into, other than Zork, of course, but you know, alternate reality had graphics and had a story. It was kind of ahead of its time. These days, all these big graphical video games that you see, they have this whole movie that you watch before you play the game, and instead of just being a text, this is what you do in this game, it gives you a whole movie of the storyline and what's going on and how to basically play. Alternate reality has a start of a little thing like that in 8-bit form or in 16-bit form, telling you the story of alternate reality. So I think that's going to be the first game that I play and show off the Mega 2 a little bit. And then I've got future videos where I'm going to do a Spectre GCR, run some Mac system software on this and some other games. I do now own a Megafile 30. Back in the day, when I had this, I purchased a Toad file. Do you know what a Toad file is? If you know the Atari, you know Toad computers. I purchased a dual bay Toad file that I put underneath this, that I had a CD-ROM and a SideQuest drive on it. I now happen to own a Megafile 30, which went with this. And I purchased it from somebody about a year ago, 2 years ago. I'm not sure what's on the hard drive. There may be some files that we can uncover, pictures, whatever it is. If it's personal information, I won't show it. But I'm going to slap it in there and see what these people had on the Mega File 30. And then connect a second monitor. This is the color. I'll connect an SM124 monochrome monitor on here. Have a dual monitor setup. There's lots to do. Lots of videos to come. So hold tight. Let's boot this up and show you a little of that demo, and then we'll call this video a wrap. Hold tight. All right. Everything's reconnected here in my office. The Atari 520 ST demo. Pretty sure this came with the Mega 2 when I purchased it. And I always enjoy just plugging it in once in a while and having it go in the background to get me in the mood for the day, the spirit of Atari. Because this would be something that would have been kind of at a store kiosk showing you what the heck this computer can do. So let's go ahead and I'm going to slap in the floppy, turn on the monitor, little red light lights up, everything's connected. And I need to reach around the back. There's no power button on the front. It's in the back. Let's go ahead and turn it on and see what happens. 3, 2, 1. Floppy access, fan going, and your desktop. Now I want to point something out. See how quick you are up to the desktop? I have some Amiga friends. I am an Amiga Next Gen owner, and I appreciate the Amiga OS and can see why so many friends enjoyed the Amiga back in the day. Now, I was an Atari kid, power without the price. I had to buy everything myself. Nothing was gifted to me, or parents didn't give me this stuff. I had to purchase it, so I had only so many pennies to use. And I, though, enjoy how quickly you are up to a desktop. Now, some, like I said, Amiga friends would say, well, what does it do? What's this operating system do? What's this desktop do? Kind of like it was not doing much. But in my opinion, an operating system that sits in the background, that does what you need it to do, your basic, gives you a graphic environment, which is user-friendly, lets you copy disks and do stuff of that nature, is a good operating system. TOS. Some people say it's the operating system. Some people say it's the Tramiel operating system. I think technically it's the operating system, but I like saying, and it's not Tramiel, it's Tramiel. Tramiel. I like to say that because I am a fan of the whole family and the Ataris. It's just cool stuff. So anyway, operating system, mouse, move around. Now this is just your basic color desktop, and I haven't done anything with it. This is what's on the floppy drive. You got a floppy A and B. Even though I don't have a second floppy connected, you can, which is cool and was a necessary item on playing some games, because otherwise you're flopping disks all day long, or when you're in your Mac mode, it was a good thing to also have. So let's double click on floppy disk A. And by the way, I didn't point it out below before, volume, brightness, contrast. There is keys here that knobs that let you select things. US demo RGB, AST demo PRG, floppy being accessed, the busy bee. Let's turn up the sound. I love the little tune. Atari presents Power Without the Price. We'll let this run for a little bit just so you can see it. Now, I don't know how well or poorly the camera's going to pick it up, or if there's any glare from the lighting. But Atari presents Power Without the Price. And it's got this fun little tune in the background. So like I was pointing out before, see, logos matching up, buttons look the same. I like the style of this particular monitor. The Atari 520 ST computer, like I said before, this was for kind of the 520 ST. And it shows a nice picture, so it's flashing there, letting you know, hey, it's an Atari. Oh, here's some good stuff. 520 ST, PCAT, Mac, and Amiga. Look at the Amiga, $17.95, but 520 ST, $7.99. And I think that included the monitor, too. The Amiga, I don't know if that did. PC was real expensive. CPU, the speed, 8 megahertz, was a little faster than the Amiga. And I like Amiga too, but it's funny. Oh, that went too fast. There was all sorts of other stuff on there, but you saw it. That looks like a laser printer. I wish I had a laser printer, but floppy drive. See, it flashes and then it lets you know about the stuff. Disk drives, flash storage. Talks about the 3 different floppy drives, which the numbering always confused me. The 314 was the double-sided 720, when the 354 you would think is a bigger number, would have more. No, it's less. It's 360K. Talks about the hard drive, 20 megabytes of storage. Woo! That's awesome. Now it's going to probably flash something else. Atari flashing. What else is it going to do? The printer. It's flashing the printer. So it's a little kiosky thing. Atari printer. SM804. That's a matrix printer. 80-column tractor fed. So on this one, no, that's not a laser printer. That looks like it's... And I wouldn't mind getting that matrix printer one day. I don't have anything for the ST line in terms of printers. Only on my 8-bit, I've got some 825s. But you could connect a laser printer to this, of course. And there were different brands. And then eventually Atari did have the SLM 804 or whatever it was. And then a second one, too. Monitors. 2 monitors. SC1224 color monitor with RGB analog or monochrome for 640 by 400 higher resolution. And I've got to say, the Atari monochrome monitors were so crisp. In my opinion, looked much better than any other computer in the day for the price. Compare that to a Mac that was $1 bazillion. This looked awesome. And it could be a Mac. That's why I purchased it. What's next? Anything next? Or will it just start repeat, recycle, rinse, go again? That could be it. We'll wait a few more seconds. So, feel like I'm playing a video game now. That's a little stuff in here. Hopefully that's coming in. It might be, sometimes you get those scan lines in. No, so it's, music power. Music power without the price. So it is continuing on and doing more stuff. It just accessed the floppy, so it's bringing in more info. Design your own instruments. Take full control. That was a big claim to fame with the Atari. You had MIDI stock in and out, and you could do music phenomenally well. Now, I'm not in the music industry, but you still have a few people today that utilize the Ataris for music. Very cool. And it's because they had they really capitalized to a degree a little bit on that capability. Not enough, because obviously they went out of business eventually, but like Amiga was very big in video production. Atari was pretty awesome in music. I feel like you just want to... Every time something fast comes up, I got to do this. We'll go a little longer. This video will be longer, but hopefully you're experiencing some of the fun. Now, obviously Commodore has music, the SID chip. That was the Commodore C64. I don't know what Amigas did afterwards. I didn't follow that close enough, but Amiga was pretty awesome for sound capability. Anything else? Database, game, see, it is flashing. It's walking you through. So this whole floppy has all this on there. Graphics power without the price. I don't think I'll do all of this. Maybe I'll make a future video that goes through this whole thing. But let's see what this does. Envision gives you full access to the Atari ST's graphic capabilities with over 70 features. Imagine wanting to buy an Atari and you're at Federated or San Jose Computer watching something like this going with your mouth open because you're amazed all this was so fresh and new back in the 80s and 70s and 80s for computing. Really fun stuff. We'll go through one more and see what the next thing is, and then we'll call this video a wrap. It's getting pretty long. Woo! What's next? Games? Music power, graphics power, and more. No, maybe this is it. Only Atari gives you so much for so little. Power without the price. Rest in peace, Jack. First word. Hey, yeah, you know, word processing, business again, or college or high school. Having a good word processor with a what you see, what you get kind of thing started becoming really cool. I'm trying to remember, what did I use on the Atari back then? Might have been Atari Works, that I'd go off of memory. Anyway, let's end it here. I think you get the gist. Demo floppy. The computer in all of its glory is running, and database capability, so you can database all your music, your LPs, your cassettes of the day. Not Laserdisc. When did Laserdisc come out? Early 90s? Late 80s? 80s? 80-something? Yeah, 80-something. So I guess back then you could have been already doing Laserdisc too. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Next up, alternate reality. I think that I've got to play that one first. It'll be a long video, but we'll play some of it, give you the experience of the boot up story like I was talking about. So anyway, Atari, we'll end there. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.